Welcome back to Tech Talks from Commercial Baking. I'm your host, Maddie Lambert. In this episode, sponsored by BluePrint Automation, I'm speaking with Jason Hogue, Southeast Sales Manager, about product development opportunities available with the Spider 200i all-in-one case packer. Jason, thanks so much for joining me.
Oh, you're welcome, Maddie. It's great to be here.
I'm really excited to talk about this because the Spider 200i all-in-one case packer has been on the market for a while. However, it's undergone a redesign. So can you tell me which pain points you addressed with the latest version of the machine since you spearheaded the project?
Sure. Well, the number one pain point that I see when I visit any bakery or any production facility for that point is when I see people hand packing around a perfectly good piece of packaging equipment. Can you imagine being a plant manager and walking on your floor and you see a piece of equipment that you paid good money for, yet you're watching people hand pack around that piece of equipment? It's just a big doorstop sitting there. That happens for a couple of reasons, but two of the big reasons is a lot of times the case or product range doesn't fit the machine, or the hand of the case doesn't fit the case erector. So what we've done with the 200i is we stretched that case range to what we saw was the absolute maximum that we see in the market, and which is around 24 inches. And we also squeeze it right back to less than 5 inches to grab some of those shelf-ready display cases that you see out there.
So which details about the solution stayed the same?
So we kept the same product correlation and positive pick and place handling, as well as the way we stack product into what we call a cassette and load cases that typically have vertical product in them. We end up loading them on the side so you can get as many products in the case as possible without the case bulging out.
So, okay, let's talk about this in more detail. How is this solution designed with processors and co-packers in mind, and which products work the best for the solution?
Contract packaging, they could be running something different from year to year to month to month. Business comes and goes, right? So they don't really know what they're going to run always. And sometimes their customer tells them exactly what they're going to be able to run. So having automation in one of their prime real estate spots to make products can be pretty tough if that range is not satisfied. So we basically embedded ourselves with some of our bigger customers to find out what those ranges are, what are those needs, what are some of the oddball packages that they typically would run by hand. And we sat down with engineering and we determined exactly what it would take to make that happen.
And you're minimizing footprint with this compact system, which I know is another huge pain point for people in the industry. They're looking for the easiest solution to balance all that, right?
Yeah, that's right. We all know the price of real estate keeps going up and up and up. So these plants that I go in, they keep feeling smaller and smaller. So we did a real good job at really designing some pretty custom doors, really, that allow you to access the machine without letting the door open into the aisle and swing and potentially hit another piece of equipment. So no ladders, no reaching in from the aisle. You can essentially just open the doors and go inside the machine and fix whatever you have to.
So, okay, speaking of market trends, the industry is seeing retailers push shelf-ready cases for ease of stocking and presentation of product. So, how does the Spider 200i respond to these trends and maybe trends in the future?
We figured out a clever way to run these shelf-ready displays. Most of the time, they're very narrow. They need to fit on the shelf of these larger retailers. So we created a cassette that will collapse the bags and put them on edge and allow us to load this case on its side so that you can tear the front of the case and set it right on the shelf. And it presents that bag for the consumer in a very pretty way without having people stock individual racks on the shelf. It's a much more efficient way of getting the product from the producer to the consumer.
And operationally, you're also reducing safety hazards. I mean, it's easy to use for your employees too.
That's correct. Yeah, we worked hard to eliminate any sort of things that you would have to step over to access the machine. So this is by far the most maintenance or operator friendly machine that we've ever designed. You can essentially open a door, walk right in, stand right in front of whatever you need to work on without a worry of getting hurt.
So I've heard safety and accessibility are tricky to balance. Why do you think that is, and how does this equipment bridge that gap?
Well, yeah, safety is paramount, right? But with real estate being at such a premium these days, it's hard to get both. So we did a couple things with the Spider 200i to try to bridge that gap. One being our magazine is one of the most accessible in the industry. We do not need to stand blanks up on their end and use some sort of spring-loaded feeding mechanism that could be dangerous to an operator. They simply just stack them on a conveyor, cut the band, and hit a button. So it's much more friendly between not having to lift the weights in awkward ways and not having to pull anything that is spring loaded back that could potentially snap and hurt you. And as I spoke before about the doors allowed this access to the equipment, and you can't swing them open and hit someone. And it allows such good access to the equipment that it really eliminates the possibility or the potential of getting hurt while working on it.
All right, Jason, I just have one last question for you. How would a baker get in touch with Blueprint Automation to get started with this solution?
Sure, just go to our website, blueprintautomation.com, click on Contact Us, select your state, and give your regional sales manager a call. They would love to talk to you about a solution for whatever application you have.
Well, perfect. Thank you so much, Jason.
Thank you.